The Yorkshire Warriors are a group of ex-Yorkshire soldiers who have decided to form a choir. Their aim is to raise the profile of their regimental association and its benevolent fund. They intend to produce and sell a CD, the proceeds of which will go to the benevolent fund of the Yorkshire Regiment. And here from the Yorkshire Warriors is Paul Aitken. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the programme.
Good evening, Bill, and thanks for having me on.
Okay, first of all, can you give us a brief history of the Yorkshire Regiment?
Yes, Bill, it's a little bit complicated, but I'll try to condense it down. The Yorkshire Regiment was formed on the 6th of June 2006 by the amalgamation of three regiments: Prince of Wales' own Regiment of Yorkshire, the Green Howards, the Duke of Wellington's Regiment, and their associated territorial army units. These became respectively the 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th territorial battalions of the newly formed regiment. The Yorkshire Regiment is founded on well over 300 years of service and tradition. The four battalions of the regiment are united by their roots in the county of Yorkshire, along with common values and history. They represent all that's best about the army, the best army in the world, the British Army.
Mm.
The regiment demonstrates great professionalism on active service and operations, but it also has great pride in its sporting history and in its support of family and family values.
So tell me, how many of you are there, and how did you all become involved with the Yorkshire Warriors, Paul?
There are at present a core of about 25 or 30 of us involved with the Yorkshire Warriors. We're mainly from the East Yorkshire area at the moment, but we're growing bigger by the week, gaining recruits from all over the Yorkshire area.
Yeah.
The Yorkshire Warriors came about a bit by chance, I suppose, really. The idea came to light after the recent deaths of 6 soldiers serving with the 3rd Battalion in an explosion out in Afghanistan. One of our members knows a parent of one of the soldiers who was killed, and they were obviously completely devastated.
Yeah.
The family were at a bit of a loss as to who to turn to or what they were going to do, especially as their finances happened to be quite limited at the time. That's why we all became involved, really, to help the families in situations like this. Hopefully we can ease not only some of the financial burdens that they face, but also the emotional burdens that come up in these situations.
So tell me, what sort of background are you all from? I presume you're all have a service background, but are any of you musicians?
By no means, Bill. As you say, we're all ex-soldiers, ranging from ex-privates all the way up through the ranks to the dizzy heights of retired major. We're from varying backgrounds and all walks of life, really. A couple of us were, I think, in their school choirs briefly in the very dim and distant past.
Right.
Others, believe it or not, are just karaoke enthusiasts. I think one member does have some sort of degree related to music, but the rest just wanted to get involved because they see it as a novel way to support a very worthy cause.
So how will funds be raised?
As you mentioned in your introduction, Bill, we're going to produce a CD. Our plan is to record 5 songs sung to pre-recorded backing tracks by the choir. The songs will be interspersed by poetry readings. The readings, we hope, will be given by various people, celebrities or local politicians. Negotiations are ongoing there, so we can't really confirm who will actually take part, but we've approached the Right Honourable Alan Johnson MP and Lord Prescott. More poignantly, though, a couple of the parents of soldiers who have died in Afghanistan from the regiment have expressed an interest in contributing by reading poetry. So from our point of view, that's going to be absolutely tremendous if we can get those on board.
Yeah. Who's going to benefit from all of this?
We had considered giving the money to the big armed forces charities, Help for Heroes and the Royal British Legion, but eventually we decided to keep it in the regiment in the Yorkshire area. The Yorkshire Regiment Benevolent Fund will be the main beneficiary, or the only beneficiary, really. The choir itself is not a registered charity. We're just raising funds in the profile of the Regimental Benevolent Fund. That fund's there to help serving or retired soldiers who have sort of hard times maybe getting back into civilian life after a long period in the army. It also tries to help in various ways the families of soldiers from the regiment who've been killed on operations or seriously injured. Also those that are less seriously injured and suffering from things like PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
So what stage are things at now then?
Things are at a very early stage at the moment, Bill, where we've only had actually 3 meetings. The first was just to brief people, get them up to speed with what's involved informing the choir and legal matters. The second and third meetings were to try and bring the core of the choir together, start the process of picking and learning to sing the songs we'd like to include. As we mentioned earlier, none of us are real musicians, so we're also trying to come together as a choir and get some sort of cohesion so that we don't sound like a strangled cat. We've got some local businesses on board. They're providing things like shirts so that we look quite smart when we're performing. A major international music company is producing the CDs and pressing them for us. And at the moment, we're testing the water locally for recording facilities for when we get to that stage. And we're looking out for a choir master or mistress who's willing to give up the time freely for us so that we can keep the money going to the association and the Regimental Benevolent Fund.
Now, lastly, how can our listeners get in touch with you to either support you or to purchase the music?
It is still very early. We do have a page on Facebook titled the Yorkshire Warriors, where they can get in touch through that medium and keep up to date with what's going on with us, as well as other things about the regiment. But there is a telephone number I could give out, if you like, that they could use to keep in touch and maybe even pre-book a copy of the CD if they'd like to.
Absolutely, Paul. Go ahead.
Yeah, that number is 07900 541 235.
Can you give us that number again, please? 07900. Yes.
541 235.
235. That's 07900 541 235.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
A guy called Paul Melbourne will be on the end of that line, and he'll be able to give brief updates and to take orders for the CDs.
Okay.
Also, that they are available online eventually, and they will be hopefully available for download from the iTunes store.
Okay. Paul Aitken of the Yorkshire Warriors, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.